per episode.
Coming in hot.
400! I don't have my roster horn, but I don't have my roster horn like it's something I carry with me. I mean the soundboard that played that. That's so funny.
Wait, let's leave a moment
Yeah.
for Colin, our fearless editor, to put in some sound. Play it, Colin.
Congratulations!
Woo! That was fun. There we
Good
go.
job.
Exactly what I needed. Susie, how are you doing?
Good. I'm happy to be here. I am excited to record. It's 400 episodes. That's really hard to believe. I know we talk about it a lot, and we're always like, can you believe?
But really,
But it's an
400
accomplishment.
Episodes. 400 episodes.
I was just learning this because I own a podcast network, so I deal with a lot of shows, but where we host the shows, there's a default setting in the server where it limits to 100 episodes just because they assume no one's going to get there. And so I just realized that we are like
well over that, 4 times
ridiculous.
the allowed amount.
They're like, shut up.
It's like when your iPhone is like, you're going to need to buy more data to cover the... They're like, you bitches have been talking too much. You're going to need to upgrade your account because we can't store all this
You're going to
info.
need the professional annoying level.
Yes. Correct. Oh, but I'm so happy to be spending...
I'm proud of us.
I was going to be spending this 400th episode with you, but who the hell else would I be spending it with? Oh,
it's me,
my
you,
gosh.
Bo, and Lava.
And you know what? For
Slash
400,
Mr. Miyagi.
I'm drinking wine. So it's going to be fun.
It's happening.
Yes. The other day, I went out to dinner with my aunt, and I was telling her about my schedule the next day and telling her that, I have some clients and then I have the podcast. And she was like, do you see your clients like after or before the podcast? And I was like, oh, I see, sometimes I see them before and then sometimes I have them afterwards. And I had afterwards, I was like, we don't always drink wine. Like, I don't drink wine.
That's very unusual, actually.
That we drink wine.
Yeah.
I know. And there was like the assumption. I was like, that I just don't like go and that's not what I do.
Did she act like she did?
Oh, yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I could tell that was what she was like. And I was like,
scratching her head.
yeah, no, I go and I do my job and then I go and do my other job. And then when, the end of the day rolls around, even if that's 11 p.m., then we pop the cork.
Yeah.
But
right.
for episode 400, I got a clear schedule the rest of the day.
Yeah, let's cheers.
Yay, cheers.
Cheers to 400 more.
Woo, to 400
You guys
more.
are so fucking
my
stuck
God.
with us.
Yeah.
Delicious.
But it's kind of like at this point, it's like I always go to like Law and Order episodes, or numbers where if they took away SVU, I don't know what I would do. So if I hope people for Brain Candy feel like that, they're like 400 episodes. I don't know what I would do if they took it away.
I really hope so.
Yeah, I like being that for people.
I do too. I love our community. I have a lot of fun on our social as well. People are very funny on our page and say funny comments.
Oh, they're so funny.
And I thank you all for listening and for being a part of our Brainiac community.
Yes, because it really does feel like one.
We are
It feels
so
like
lucky.
the perfect place where I get to be 100% myself, which is like silly and irreverent, but also sometimes nerdy. Like when you said in the past episode, people are just going to have to deal with this right now. This is just us talking about how much we love.
Sorry.
Yep, deal with it. How you were talking about how I never get nerdier or more excited when I'm talking about nature stuff, and how and that was like I didn't write anything down for that. That wasn't like something that was just me, and I was like, how fun that I get to talk about stuff I really love, share it with other people, and maybe like somebody else gets excited out there about it or whatever.
How lucky are we?
Super lucky.
And whenever like life gets you down, which at this moment it can, I'm dealing with a lot of stress, as is Sarah.
Yeah.
But this is my respite.
Yes.
This is the break from the hell.
Yeah.
And that's a lucky thing because not everybody has that, an outlet, and a creative endeavor, whatever. And so I feel really lucky.
I hope listeners can feel like that too. That even just a couple weeks ago or so, I posted something that was like need to relax in traffic, like chill out with the Brain Candy podcast, because like even if I can just make your drive a little bit more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Job
the
well
commute or your time at the gym.
Yes.
Or like a lot of people do it while they're breastfeeding. They'll listen to a show.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
In the middle of the night when you have, it's painful. You're sitting there. I feel it. Like I feel I'm going back to it.
Yeah.
When you're up in the middle of the night, you are a zombie.
Yeah.
and you have to just stay awake because somebody's on your teat.
You just got to listen to something to...
You do.
Yeah,
or
that's
read something
perfect.
or whatever. But, yeah. And so a lot of people are in those positions, and I say thank you for including me in the intimate moments of your life.
Oh, my God, my heart. I love it.
We're so lucky.
Yes. You know who else sounds lucky but maybe isn't lucky? This woman who doctors diagnosed as the first case of someone who pees alcohol.
No.
Yes. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So this woman goes into the hospital. Yes, you're like, go on.
No, I just can't. I'm trying to think, what
Yes.
could this be?
So this woman goes into the hospital, and she has been suffering with liver problems for a significant amount of time.
Yeah.
And she has diabetes and cirrhosis of the liver. And that's often associated with heavy alcohol use. But doctors were like, she claimed, she was like, I don't touch this stuff. I really don't drink alcohol. I mean, I have a glass of wine here or there, but I'm telling you, I don't drink it.
Yeah.
So the doctor didn't believe her. And
Right,
they were-
I hate-
They didn't.
God
they were like,
damn it, you
we're sure."
guys.
So they like encouraged her to seek treatment. She's like, fine, I'll go. I won't drink any wine for however long. She said, like a month or something.
They told her to seek
Yes.
treatment.
Yes. And so they, even after seeking, after she stopped drinking at all, she was still showing up as like her urine analysis was still showing up with alcohol. So
This is crazy.
they noted that the test results had ethyl glucuronide and ethyl sulfate, that they were substances that were produced by the breakdown of alcohol. Those were negative. So that she had positive alcohol, but not the components that were needed to break it down. So they were able to say something's going on in your liver that's turning it so it wasn't showing up in her blood, but it was showing up in her urine. So she
her
didn't
blood alcohol content was zero.
but her urine tested
Good.
positive for alcohol.
Yeah.
So she was like, this is the first time that they've ever seen a case like this. So they eventually took a closer look at the pee, and they discovered that the woman's bladder had become colonized with a strain of yeast called Candida glabratea that's part of the normal human flora that's closely related to brewer's yeast. And so basically her bladder had
Was
turned
turning
turned into a brewing
She
system.
should start a company.
Right? Just pee. And then I think about all those
Oh,
people who like drink their own pee to cure cancer. Wouldn't it have been great if it were alcoholic?
So if you did drink it, I know this sounds silly, but if
You would get drunk. Yes. Because it turns it has the yes. You'd probably have to drink, but it would get drunk. Yes.
That's
Yeah.
cuckoo.
They took the samples of the yeast, they placed it in a petri dish under certain conditions, and watched whether it fermented. Lo and behold, the sample produced alcohol. So it appears the woman's bladder had effectively acted like a boozy brewery. To make alcohol, whether it's
God.
beer, hard liquor, you need water and sugar paired with yeast in the absence of oxygen. And so the anaerobic conditions in her uterus make the yeast fermentation of the sugars into alcohol and carbon dioxide. The woman's urine contained sugars as a symptom of her poorly controlled diabetes. It was like a perfect storm. So there was sugar in there because of the diabetes, and
my
paired with the yeast
God,
that
right.
colonized in her bladder,
She's making wine in her.
they were ideal conditions
kidneys
for
or
the
whatever.
fermentation of alcohol. Isn't that freaking crazy?
How
And
old is she? Do
They
you know?
called it an autobrewery effect that is never before seen in the bladder, but it was sometimes documented in the digestive system. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
You know what's interesting? It didn't say how old she was. I'm looking at it, and it doesn't say.
What do you suppose? 50?
Yeah. Oh, 61 years old.
61.
Yeah, I was going to guess 58,
Yeah.
something like that. We're almost like at
Older,
the
but
age
not
of
super old.
The age where if you were a regular alcohol drinker, the symptoms of cirrhosis and liver problems would start to manifest and cause like problems to make you then go to the hospital and see.
Do you
help.
think she's had this her whole life?
I think that she's had this when the bacteria was introduced. So however long that strain of yeast has been in her body.
You don't think she was born that way?
Well, she somehow, with any sort of bacteria, it has to be introduced. You're born into like a...
I didn't know that, actually.
The same way, like, they're saying that having a cesarean section
Yeah.
and not passing through the vaginal canal limits the exposure to certain bacteria that then help your immune system and especially your gastrointestinal system later.
Yeah.
And so it could have been that she maybe was a C-section, she didn't get that, she somehow picked up another strain of because there are a ton of different strains of these, like Candida, like yeast is like a yeast infection is not just one thing. It could be like hundreds of different strains of this. So sometimes if it's like reoccurring, you have to like get it tested further to find out what the specific one is. Some can be cured with one type, like an antifungal. Some need like something else. Like they're different things that react to this. And she had one that they just didn't test for. And I don't know how, it doesn't say how she developed this, but
they probably don't even know.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either.
How strange. I wonder when it started, when her body started producing alcohol.
But also, there's something about diabetes and also yeast being more predisposed to like yeast infections, things like that, and wherever they exist on the body, whether that's the skin or anywhere, you can get that. Like an overgrowth because it's like related to sugar and all that stuff. So she was just like the perfect petri dish for this to happen. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
Right.
I cannot
and I was like,
believe it.
Oh, I'm going to need to know more. Yeah.
Well, I don't produce alcohol, but I do drink it.
Yep.
And then, your teeth get red. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
You got to brush that.
Yes.
With your Quip toothbrush.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Get all of that wine.
Oh, I just replaced my head for my toothbrush, and that is my favorite. You were right. That's my favorite part.
Because it's a spiritual ritual experience where... So Quip will send you a replacement head for your electronic toothbrush. So you take the old head off, and then you use the old head to clean, like the hinge or whatever you'd call that, the connection point.
Yep.
And it feels so good.
Yep.
And then you pop the new one on, and you're like, ah.
And it always has for me has that like old toothbrushy smell where I'm like, I'm so excited to be getting rid of this.
Yeah.
And thank you, Quip, for knowing exactly when I need a new toothbrush. Not too early, not too late.
Yeah, and they know when you should switch sides of your mouth because the sonic vibrations have a built-in timer, so it tells you it pulses, and then you put it on the other side. They have floss now. By the way, if you people aren't flossing, please freaking start.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't floss, Sarah. Don't act like that.
I know I shouldn't act like that, but then I think, like, when I have something stuck in my tooth,
but
I
some
gotta
people
have that floss everywhere.
They don't know. And here's what I say. My friend Heather taught me this. Just one time, floss your tooth, take a sniff at what comes out.
Yes, that's the same smell.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying is the worst.
And it's been in your mouth. You're disgusting.
Dude.
Anyway, Quip's great because it looks
better.
great. It mounts to your mirror. It looks super chic. And if you go to getquip.com/braincandy right now, you'll get your first refill free. It's your first refill free at getquip.com/braincandy, getquip.com/braincandy. Quip, the good habits company. You want them to have good habits, don't you?
Yes.
Losers.
Yes.
I shouldn't call them
Oh
losers.
my gosh.
That's so rude. All right. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Now they're informed.
What
Yes.
were we talking about? I don't even remember. Oh, pee.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
I wonder if she's okay now. You think she's like fine with it now that they know?
I feel like maybe she needs a liver transplant.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I feel like if you're already at cirrhosis,
that's
point,
awful.
She's
being punished for something.
Yeah, that's the worst. Where could you imagine if you went in there and you're like, I'm telling you, I don't drink. Like, I don't drink.
Well, you know how like doctors are often accused of not believing patients?
Yeah.
But I believe that it's because so many people must lie.
Yeah.
So if you're lying to doctors, I'm mad at you. Yeah. Because you're making it harder for all of us who are telling the truth in there.
I just go back. I feel like doctors, sometimes they just judge one look and they're like,
I mean, that's human.
I know.
So it's not even doctors. It's just like the human condition.
Yeah.
And I would feel like that too if 90 people came in lying to me and then like 10 people were telling truth.
I always get a hard time, like just a vibe from my pharmacy when I go pick up my medication for ADHD. And
for real?
Every time. And I feel like I have to justify it. And I always feel like I have to.
If you need a witness, like a character witness, I will testify. You need that stuff.
No shit. And then I feel like I have to justify it too because there's so much stigma. And I even took a test, like an electronic test called the TOVA test. it says in the printout, like it shows my results before, and it's so far in the ADHD range, it's like a joke. And then they do it at a half a dose of the medication, and then I move into like closer to normal range, and then I take the full dose and I move into normal range. And I mean, if I didn't have 3 versions of this test printed out and saw it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have.
You should be like Joker when he laminates his condition description about how he laughs.
That's what I do. Yes.
You can give them a little piece of paper that says, like,
here are my TOVA results.
I have a condition.
Yes. Because there are so many, and it was funny. Susie the other day was like, I read this thing, and it talked about one of the symptoms of ADHD is biting your nails.
And you and Adam do it. Like, not just biting your nails, like the tips, like totally ruining
psychomotor agitation
and your nail beds.
Yes, just picking at them too.
I don't know what that is though.
It's like it's recognizing something in our environment that we need to fix or work on, but not really knowing how to focus on it or what to do. Like, I mean, I was thinking about it as I was reading my book, and I was like biting my nails. And all it would take is and really I do it. I'm like, oh, it's not even. Oh, I'll make it even. And then I just keep making it more even. And that does not work. It just makes it worse.
Do you think it's a version of perfectionism or separate?
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe for you.
For me, it does. And then it's like, if I just stood up and went and got my nail file, then it would be like fine. And
but it wouldn't be as fun, would it?
It almost like scratches an itch in a way.
And
it's only towards the end of the night when the medication wears off too.
I have this scar on my forehead, which, if you've watched any of our lives, you've probably seen. And it's where I rub and pick when I'm having the nail biting moment.
Yeah.
And recently it had gotten better because I wasn't doing it. And it was almost invisible.
Yeah, I can't even see it now though.
Right. Because it's been okay because we were in New York and I was like
distracted.
Occupied.
Same thing happens with my nails when I go camping or something.
And then they improve.
Yes.
But then I was like a little sad because I was like, what am I going to do? It's like a friend.
This is like what they say with people who are schizophrenic and they give them medication to take away. No, not like in the same way, but hear me out. That when they give a medication that gets rid of the voices, they're sad and lonely because that voice was the only thing that brought them comfort.
Yes, because...
So like, don't get rid of that thing because it's the only thing that brings me comfort.
Because there is a part of you that is comforted by doing that.
Correct. That's exactly what it's designed for. It's self-soothing.
Yeah, it's self-soothing. So then you worry, what will I do?
You have to replace it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, and then that's when I ate all that sugary. I had ice cream for breakfast and chocolate for dinner.
I replaced shame it about a birthday.
The wrong thing.
Oh, for
no, I'm just saying. Like that night, I was like, oh, I'll just eat whatever's in my fridge, and it was only delicious sweet stuff. So I ate it all, and I should have just bit my fingernails.
Can you believe how human we are?
No joke.
We keep being
human,
my gosh.
Sarah. I have a really funny human story that couldn't have happened at a worse time.
Okay,
but so Ren and I are moving. We're moving into this new apartment. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong with moving. As moving often does.
Yeah.
So now we're like 3 nights into living there. We've worked really hard in unpacking all the boxes. We have almost every box unpacked, and they've all been broken down. Which, by the way, we woke up the next day and I'm like, my hands hurt. Why do my hands hurt? It feels almost like when you eat too much sodium and your fingers are like puffy.
Yeah.
I'm like, my hands feel like raw. And I was like, that's from opening up and closing boxes and ripping and they're just swole. Like, this is that swole
I can
feeling.
see that because you go crazy. I remember when we used to ship like our merch directly from here.
Oh, yeah, I go nuts.
And you really get in the zone.
And so does Ren. And both of us, our hands were like throbbing. Like, you know in a cartoon when it's like red and like throbbing? Like, that's what our hands looked like.
Oh, my God.
And it was just from ripping all that stuff open. So we've got all the boxes open. We lay them all down on this like a dolly. We have to move everything. And it's probably 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. We go move it into because we live in a big apartment complex, so it's almost like hotel where there's like a hall and everything. We move this dolly out, and Ren's like, I'm going to go drop it off at recycling. I'm holding the door open. Then I scoot the dolly up, and the door shuts behind me.
Okay.
Our keys are inside.
No.
The office is closed.
No.
We have no way of getting back in.
Okay.
The only thing I have is my Apple Watch that I turn the cellular on. So, we're like, what do we do? We don't know. We have no phones. We have no way to get back in. We can't even call the office. We don't even know the number. We have nothing. And I go, I wait for somebody. There's like somebody who walks through the front door. So I like sneak in after them, and I tell them and they hold the door open. I don't like sneak into my own apartment. And so I go to the lobby and I look, there's like a general number on the window of like, want Elise? Call this. So I call that, and then it's like after hours. So like, if you have an after hours lockout, call this number. So then I listen to that, and then the phone dies and it cuts off the last 2 numbers. I'm not even kidding. So then finally we're able to listen to the recording again, get the last 2 numbers. And it's one of those where that you have to wait 10 minutes in the recording where it's like,
yeah, our hours are
even worse. With ocean air and LA breezes, you get the most of living in these da-da-da-da. I'm like, I have to listen to the 15-minute commercial. It's like they're selling me a timeshare. And just to get,
air.
I was like, for real, it says that. It's like that. And I was like, oh my fucking God. And so then we call that number. The locksmith was like, oh, it'll be $140 if we just have to open it, or $200 if we have to drill it, which they definitely would have to do. And Ren and I, we just like hemorrhaged money for the move and everything like this. And we're like, there's got to be another way. So Ren's like, we're getting in. Our balcony, we have a balcony. The balcony's open. I'm climbing the wall. I'm climbing the wall.
That was lucky it was open.
I'm like, we think it's open. We're like pretty sure it's open.
Oh, God.
And Ren's like, I got to go to the neighbor. I got to go to the neighbor, and I got to ask him if I can climb out their window and climb over the balcony. And I'm like,
this
we
is
live
so
in
great.
Los Angeles.
I'm so happy right now.
I know. The idea of knocking on my... First of all, would you like to knock on your next door neighbor's door for anything at any time? No.
Yeah, no.
Right. We go over there and knock on the door. It's like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. We're dressed in like sweats because we've been moving all day.
Of course, yeah.
Ren knocks on the door, and I'm like standing... He enters the door. It's just like a young guy at nighttime. We knock on the door. Nobody answers. We wait like 5 minutes or so. He's like, I'm going to try again. Knocks on the door. A woman comes to the door in a towel. She has gotten out of the shower, and Ren's like, hi. So we're your new neighbors. And I'm thinking, this is LA. There's no chance she's going to let this guy into her apartment.
Wouldn't you?
Not really.
I would.
I mean, I would once I hear the whole thing. But at first, if I'm in a towel, I would have been like, what's this? Shout out to Diane, who is my new bestie.
Diane's the opposite of Linda.
Opposite of Linda.
Diane
is all... If she's a Diane, like, let me tell you, this woman is my new best friend. Ren's explaining the situation. He's like, okay, so we got locked out, and we called the number, and it's going to be... And she was like, oh, we are getting you back into that apartment. And she says it just like that. And Ren's like, oh, my God, thank you. And I run over, and I'm like, hi. Nice to meet you. We're your neighbors. You know, like thinking like, I'm like, he needs backup because like even before she said that, I'm like, I need to like show, I'm like, I promise we're like, it's like a real thing. And then she could not have been nicer. She's like, and Ren's like, do you like maybe want to put on a robe or like get dressed or like, because I know I've interrupted you at this hard time. And she's like, oh my gosh, yes, real quick. And so she like goes in and she comes out. She's like, I for a second I thought, oh my God, maybe I should straighten up, but you don't care. I'm like, we don't care. She was so nice. And she was like, yep, let's go. We're climbing through. Now Diane's
going to be our friend.
Oh, she is the fucking coolest, the best, probably like mid-50s, telling us how she's like lived in the apartment for a long time. And then this one was available. And so she's like
be a Diane, everyone.
Be a Diane.
Be a Diane.
She's like, we're getting you into that apartment. Let's do it. We have the one apartment in the entire complex that you could have done this from.
Oh.
Because we're on the second floor. We live right above a restaurant. The restaurant had a neon sign that Ren was able to climb over the balcony and step on so that he can go and like shimmy the way down. If we had been on any other floor or in any other apartment,
wasn't he scared?
I was terrified because when he said this, I'm like, "You're not doing that." Could you imagine you fall your death and this is
even just like
or
if you
getting
see
arrested.
A man of color climbing a balcony,
you're going to
be profiled.
Yes, and I'm like terrified here, and he's like, "No, we're going to do it." Climbs it, gets over. Thank God the door was open to the balcony. We got in. It was like, I can't believe that this happened to after all that moving. Of course we lock ourselves out. Of course we do. This seems like right in line with what should happen. We're exhausted. Our fingers are swollen.
You know what goes great in apartments, though, Sarah?
What?
Joybird.
It sure does. And currently, mine is sitting right in the living room.
That's so good.
It's great. It fits You know what I love about them? Apartment sofas.
Yeah.
They have them sized right because it is such a
lot
hassle.
of people have small living spaces now, too.
Tons.
Yeah.
You can get amazing, even a sectional.
Yeah.
That's the right size, and that is a hard thing to find,
It
especially at a
is.
good price.
And you always wonder, like, is this really high quality?
Oh, it is.
And you don't have to worry because this stuff is so great. They have 50 fabric and leather options, 3 shades of wood, like 250 unique silhouettes, like so all different, as you're saying, like all different sizes and shapes, like whatever size you're living in, they have it. They have kid and pet friendly upholstery options, which I love. They even have financing options, which is great because, you know, getting new furniture is a real decision.
For real.
And you have to think about it. And sometimes, you know, it's an expense that maybe you didn't budget for. So they have financing as well. And it's quality handcrafted stuff. 365-day home trials. Skip the furniture store. Bring the showroom home to you. And then create furniture that matches your own fearless style at joybird.com/braincandy. See how Joybird can help you make your dream space a reality today at joybird.com/braincandy. Go to joybird.com/braincandy. Receive an exclusive offer for 25% off your first order by using code braincandy. You guys have seen it all over my feed, so you know it's really cute. Blah, blah, blue.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys, that worked out.
Oh, my gosh. And
3 cheers for Diane.
yes, for real. And I was just like, you were so neighborly. And then I watched, like, 2 days later, so I watched the movie Won't You Be My Neighbor or whatever the one with.
Yeah.
And they sang that song, and I was like, I got a good neighbor in
Yeah.
L.A.,
That's
which, like,
lucky.
is so, she could have been, like, anybody else who was like, well, here, you can use my phone. But the fact that she let us climb the balcony at 8 o'clock at night or whatever.
Did she find it funny at all, or was she just like
the best? She was so, and
That's
then like
even
we walk
better.
in, she's got like cool lights, like she's got like purple lights in her house, and
Wow.
Ren and I just got the like Alexa lights that change color and everything, so we've been on like a light kick, and she was like, oh, and Ren's like, oh, I love your lighting, and she's like, it's changed my life, and then our light showed up the next day, and I was like, Diane was right, this lighting does change her life.
Diane was
I
right.
was like, no, Diane's like my go-to.
Yeah.
For like, I'm like, what would Diane do? It's like, it really is the opposite of Linda. I'm like, she would let somebody in her house. She would save the day. She would be
fine with
Diane's getting an orchid and a nice little
profanity.
letter.
Oh, that's so
she would be
sweet.
totally fine with it. And then Ren and I look at each other, we're like, are we lucky or what that we have the most down-ass neighbor next to us?
Yeah, because you freaking never know.
We got the coolest neighbor.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, it's
was
the
the
opposite
best.
of Honeyland. This is what I'm telling you. You guys got to see that film about the beekeeper who, like, those hooligans move in.
Yeah. Oh, it's like totally
Ruin
the opposite.
everything. Because a bad neighbor can ruin your life.
It would be. Could you imagine that neighbor could complain for a million reasons? It could make it difficult if they just didn't like who we
but
were.
instead, you got Diane.
I got Diane. It was so great. And in this moment that was so stressful and could have been so like annoying and difficult and all
She
that
brought
stuff.
levity.
Yes, and it was like a great story and funny and made us meet our neighbor. And
Have you seen
I like
Diane
her.
since?
No, I think I was thinking this today. I must have very different schedules with like everybody in my building because I never see anybody.
That's ideal.
Yeah.
Except Diane.
Except like, well, that one,
We
yeah,
want-
I
no,
want
I'm
to see
saying,
her.
like, we wanna-
yes,
yeah,
yes, I want to see her. But like, I haven't really. At about 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night, it's really busy with dogs being walked and going to the bathroom. But besides that,
My ex-husband used to always say his idea of a really good neighbor was just someone who could identify his dead body. Like, you don't know anything else about it. Oh, that's him. It
Yeah.
looks like him.
yeah, it looks like him, right?
But when I was preparing for coronavirus, it was saying, like, you should get to know your neighbors. Because it was talking about that thing you say about the earthquake and how
Yep.
when there is a disaster,
It's going to become a community.
you got to make friends because
This is
everybody's
true.
going to be in the same boat.
Yep. This is very important. You
Yeah.
have to,
Well,
or establish authority and make yourself the leader.
Okay, maybe that's what I'll do.
One
Because
of
at
those
this
two.
point,
You have all the material, like all the supplies.
Yeah, right. I'm the only one with the mask.
So yeah, there you go. Now you have power.
Right.
Yes. So
Okay, maybe I'll be like the head of
But
this.
speaking of emergency things, I don't know what we were talking about the last episode where I was going to share this with you about things like we're not concerned about, but maybe we should be.
Okay.
So remember when you
make
were
a
in,
list.
right? Remember when you were in Hawaii and the tidal wave thing or tsunami alert went off?
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, it's just a test," but like nobody moved. So a few days ago, we're in our apartment. It's Sunday. All the fire alarms start going off. And we have a fire alarm where it's like a sprinkler system, and it's like not just in our apartment. Like the fire alarms for the whole building goes off.
But not the sprinklers.
Not the sprinklers. Thank fucking God. Thank God. Mm-hmm. The fire alarms are going off, and I look, like after about 2 minutes, I look around and I'm like, should we be doing something? Like, this is lasted. This is not just like, what's going on here? He's like, nah, I live in New York. I lived in an apartment, like in student housing. Like this happens all the time where like the fire alarm goes off. No big deal, whatever. It kept going off. I walk outside. Nobody is out there. I don't see a soul. It's like, there's like
That's
over
odd.
1,000. Why is nobody coming out? This isn't like this is at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. So people should definitely be home. Nobody comes out. About 6 hours later, like we've kind of forgotten about it, and like they go on periodically for like the next maybe like 2 hours every 10 minutes or so. There's like another alarm goes off. Then we look outside, fire trucks, and in my mind I'm like, okay, well, fire
They
trucks
got an
probably
alert.
like somebody pulled the fire alarm. They pull up, no big deal. A few hours later, we will walk out, and I'm like, it smells like melted plastic.
No.
There was a full-blown fire in the mechanic shop. Like there's like a bike maintenance shop at our complex that is one floor below me.
No.
And they had shut off all of the fire like there are fire doors. I learned a whole bunch of stuff about my apartment complex. Like in a fire, there are these big, huge fire doors that get shut. So there was like a door before like getting into the elevator.
Why would they be shut during a fire?
Because they're to prevent the fire from spreading.
Oh, right. Well,
So
that's
like,
nice.
yeah, I thought so too. But it wasn't until 8 hours or so after, maybe even the next day, where like we learned that there was an actual fire.
Yeah.
And I was like, that seems like not enough. Like, I mean, I understand that we weren't affected by this and it didn't
but
like
now
come
you
close.
know.
But this is important information there was a fire. We should be we should not just be cool and stay in the apartment. And yes, we were fine, but like Ren's explanation and like my instinct was to be like, oh, it's probably an accident. It wasn't an accident. It was an actual fire. And I wonder of like how long would I have been like it's just fine if those, because we're like one door to our, we're like right by the fire escape. So one door is shut there, and then there's another door right before the elevator, and another fire door is shut there, and they open and everything. But if there were an actual fire that then blocked off those two doors, we would go to that door, put our hand on it, and be like, we're fucked, and we would maybe escape through Diane's balcony, but down to the street. But I was just like, this reminds me of Susie in Hawaii and that tsunami, and this is very scary.
Yeah.
Nobody moved.
Okay, not to make everything about coronavirus,
But you can.
but everything is.
Yeah.
Is
This is my new favorite. This is my new favorite. This is like Susie either care. You know how they told that the listener said, you could sum me up by caring about things I learned on this show explained, and me wanting a shot of the chore chart. Yours are coronavirus and the royal family. Susie cares about pandemics and the royal family, and that is it.
Well, okay, that's true, but I also care about clear skin.
That's for sure, because
And-
every member
yeah.
of the royal family needs to know that you need to be camera ready at all times.
And that's why I use BioClarity,
Yes.
and I have used it for years, as
Same.
you know.
I'll never drop it.
Never,
ever.
ever.
It's the best. It's the best. That's it. The end.
It's a 3-step face wash system. Especially if you have problem skin like me, you're going to want to use it because you want that clear skin routine going on. It prevents breakouts. I can't emphasize this enough. It has been a miracle for me. So try it and see if it works for you. It's very soothing. It prevents breakouts. Sarah uses it on her bum even.
I do.
Which is really cool.
Salicylic acid right there, number 2.
Yeah, and it does the job. But my favorite thing about it is that unlike the competitors, it's affordable.
So affordable.
Because usually they charge you $1 million bucks because they,
They're like,
can.
oh, it works? Okay, we're going to charge you $1 million times more.
You really would pay that to have clear skin.
Yep.
But you
So
can
great.
get healthier and have more radiant skin today at BioClarity.com. You'll get 15% off everything on the site when you use code BrainCandy at checkout. That's BioClarity.com. And don't forget to use promo code BrainCandy at checkout for 15% off. Okay, so what I was going to say is that for starters, I always think back to 9/11. Mm-hmm. And when the first plane hit, and all those people are in there, and they were told
To just stay put.
to stay put
I know.
by the speakers.
can't believe-
That
don't
person
listen to that.
said, just stay where you are. Don't
No.
panic.
Oh
And I
my
get
God.
why they do it. But those people should have been running down
Yes.
those steps.
Yep.
But how were they to
Fuck.
know? And I would have died because I would have listened.
I know. I would have died. I would have died too.
And now I'm buying masks because
I
I'm
know.
not falling for that. Like,
I know.
oh, it's fine. Everybody stay calm. No, I'm not staying calm.
Yeah.
You're out of your mind. Wait, but what were you just talking about? Oh, the alarms to listen to. Yeah. And I just feel like maybe we ought to. Because Adam, as you know, when he lived in Thailand, was in a nightclub that had one of those pyrotechnic fires.
Yes.
And he always talks about how he was right by the stage, right where it happened. And he had a drink in his hand. And the pyrotechnics went up. And everything sort of went crazy. And it was like, whoa, that was not supposed to happen. That's weird.
Oh, my God.
But, like, nobody really knows. Is this part of the show?
Right.
Is this something to be nervous about? And then it became clear that it was a thing.
Yeah.
So he started, like, he was still holding his drink. He always
my
talks
God.
about that. It was whiskey. And he was, like, walking. And then all hell broke loose. And everyone started panicking. And in Asia, Adam's like a giant.
Yeah.
And so he was knocked to the floor and people started stepping on him.
This is a nightmare.
And he says that it taught him a lot about life because in that moment he was like, oh, it's every man for himself. He was trying to get everyone to stay calm. He was like, everybody, let's go.
Of course, in Adams.
Yeah. But nobody else is going for it.
No.
So he was like, well, I guess we're all...
Every man for himself.
Yeah. And so now he uses that analogy a lot when we're going through shit because he's like, we have to just remember, we're in this together and we can't rely on other people. You have to go with your gut and all that.
Because they're also going to step over you on their way to the exit.
So now this has become my doomsday brain candy series.
But it's in thinking about that, about like Adam's reaction and then thinking about how Ren, which is totally understandable because his reaction was, I've lived in apartments before. This goes off all the time. So I think of it's like the boy who cried wolf thing where your experience has been, oh, it's nothing, it's nothing, it's nothing until it's something. And then that's the part.
Well, then it's too late.
I know. And everything was fine in the end. But we smell, and then I just see the poor maintenance guys just going back and forth with there was definitely work to be done. And I think it was the firefighters put it out with that foam stuff. And then they have... firefighters put it out, but they don't clean it up.
Oh, it was all just sitting there?
It was
who cleans it up?
I think the maintenance people, because they seemed like...
The people who set the fire?
Who knows? But I passed the same guy when, right when it happened, and he told us, oh, yeah, there was a fire in the mechanic room and blah, 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 blah. And then I saw him 3 days later, and he gave me this look that was I'm tired, I'm still going, because I Ren and I chatted with him for a bit. So he gave me this look it ain't done yet.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you were just sitting in your apartment thinking about Diane.
Me too. Yes. That is and I was just I gotta.
Do you think
make a
Diane's
decision.
single or?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wonder if she's ready to mingle.
I think so. I don't know. What if? Oh my God! What if I become like her? Now I'm on the mission. I'm set Diane up. I was I wonder if she'd be friends with my aunt. That'd be nice. Set him up on a little friend date.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Yes.
That could have been terrible.
Yeah, we got into our apartment. Nothing burned down. However, we tried to cook out of the stove. Just cook some wings like we do. Put it at 400. Full-blown flames coming out of there. So something's wrong with our stove.
Why did you bury the lead?
We set off our own smoke.
You didn't.
Yes! I don't even realize that it's the punchline and that it's part of the joke, and the story until I say it out loud, and I'm like, no wonder. And then Ren, a while back, told me, he's like, people have always told me, like, my life is like a movie, and I was like, uh-oh. Because Susie always tells me on the show, we can be friends for 10 years, and she finds out things, and she's like, what is that? So I'm like,
true.
now the two of us together?
Yeah.
No wonder we get locked out. And we, like, even when it happened, Ren and I were able to look at each other and be like, yeah, this makes sense for us.
It's about right.
This is about right for us. Because both of us are going to go home with a story, and both of us have friend groups that go, how does this happen to you?
Yeah.
So the two of us, this is we're
I'm
strap
gonna have my
in.
work cut out.
I got material for up to episode 500 with the next
Calamity.
for sure.
Calamity Candy, we'll call it.
Yes, it'll be like that. So, oh my God! But thank God it all worked out, and like we're kind of like coming down from all that.
Oh my God. Your
Anyhow.
life's crazy.
Yeah, it is. But I have something that's even crazier to share with you.
I doubt that.
I think you will think this is.
Okay.
Because it's like our episode 400, and like, what's like one of our favorite topics on here?
Poop.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I already told a pee story, but this one blew my mind. I can't even believe it, but now that I know it, I can't unknow it, and I see evidence of it all the time.
What is it?
Dogs defecate in accordance with Earth's magnetic field.
What do you mean?
I mean that if you've ever taken a dog out to go to the bathroom, when they're going number 2, they will often reposition themselves. Like they'll walk and they look like they're doing a little circle, and sometimes they'll change angles. The angle in which they choose to defecate aligns with the magnetic fields of the Earth. They always do it at a north-south axis.
No.
What do you mean?
And why?
Like you can get out a compass and I can tell you what direction is north based on how Bo goes to the bathroom. I'd be like, yeah, north is
For
over there.
real, though?
Yep. So this has been published. It says, for years, scientists have known that several species spontaneously align their bodies with Earth's magnetic field when they engage in certain behaviors. So we know that this does happen. But a team of scientists from Germany and the Czech Republic came together and they studied 37 breeds over 2 years. And this is hilarious. 1,893 defecations and 5,582 urinations later, the team reached one incredible finding. Dogs preferred to excrete with the body with being aligned on the north-south axis. What?
Why would that be true, evolutionarily speaking? Figure that out.
I don't know. They don't.
Why would that matter?
I have no idea. And it's not. And this was one where it's like there's. I think when they first released the study, there's almost like journals. Like this is from the Guardian. The Guardian has like this is what we just found out, but there's no additional information of like because it's got to be like brand new.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, let's explore that even deeper. But
I'd love to know their intention, why this was important enough to
that's a really good
study.
It says the results. Dogs joined cattle, deer, hunting red foxes, coyotes, and gray wolves as yet another mammal to have a mechanism of magnetoreception. So all those animals, although their altered behavior was only evident under calm conditions, it's still a breakthrough in demonstrating measurable, predictable changes in dog behaviors in response to the Earth's magnetic field. And before you go pointing any fingers, this isn't made up, and you can see some of their findings for yourself here. So I'll post that.
I can't.
And because when I just saw the headline, and I was like, that's not a thing.
Right.
And then I clicked on it, and I'm like, that is a thing, and that is absolutely true. I couldn't even believe it.
Do you think it's 100% of the time?
No, they said that it only works when the dog is experiencing calm conditions.
Oh.
Which brings me to yet another a thing that has recently been released. However, not sure about the scientific findings behind this. Spotify has now released a whole bunch of playlists for dogs.
Why?
I know. Why?
Yeah, why? You're supposed to know.
No, I don't. And neither does Spotify, I think. So
it was just a gimmick?
So the other day when I was leaving my apartment, and, we have Alexa, and Alexa's on, she's, like, playing music and everything, and, we're leaving, and I'm like, oh, do you want to, like, stop? Like, I was telling Ren, like, should we tell her to stop? And he's like, oh, yeah, Alexa, stop. And then I was like, oh, I wonder if Bo gets lonely us there, whatever. So I'm listening to an episode of Wait, Don't Tell Me, and they say new information's come out, like, or new, whatever, released from Spotify, that now they have playlists for dogs. And I was like, what the hell? So, of course, I had to go listen to it. It's very calming and very relaxing, and I do not know, but if this is just me and, like, it calmed me down, and then my vibes then but it seemed to work.
But it's like, let's say you were going to leave that on while you left.
Yeah.
Then there's nobody listening for the commercials, so how is this generating revenue for them? You know what I mean? Like,
well, I have the upgraded account to where you don't have commercials.
But, like, in their business model,
Yes.
how is this
I would
advantageous?
imagine that it's like, people like to feel like their animals are taken care of, and that somebody. So, like, I like Spotify more, like, in their mind. Maybe I will be a more dedicated Spotify, like, I don't know, member or whatever you call it. If I feel like they're catering their music to me, but also to my dog. And so I listened to, I was like, I got to check this out.
Did you know any of the songs, or
No,
was it
and
all ambient?
They're all like the ambient. They're all at a specific hertz. So I feel like the science has been done, because the titles of the songs
There it
would
is,
be like
specific
100
hertz.
or 741 hertz, like relaxation songs. Which, I was thinking to the episode where we talked about the most relaxing song ever.
Yeah.
And how we know that specific sounds do make us feel more relaxed. So maybe they studied this with the dogs, and these are the ones that work. And I played it in the car with Bo, and she did seem very calm.
That's nice.
However, every single song ends abruptly. And I was like, apparently dogs don't care about transitions.
Well,
because
what if it made Bo start pooping or peeing at, like, the south
different axis.
east axis?
Right. It is the whole magnetic field thing, to go back to that. It really is crazy to me, because then you look like, I watch a documentary on the pyramids of Egypt, and I shouldn't say pyramids, the tombs of Egypt, because they're different things.
Okay.
Pyramids and tombs, and most people
It
think
wasn't
that
about pyramids?
I mean, in the general sense, yes, but, like, pyramids, the way that we think of them, we always think that there's, like, King Tut buried inside, but nobody has ever been buried inside of a pyramid. Those were used for something else that we aren't aware of. They're thinking it's like energy or something like that, but people are buried in these tombs that have more of, like, a step, like stairs.
Yeah.
They're not those perfectly
Smooth,
flat pyramids. But the pyramids themselves, the smooth ones, the ones that we all know of, are aligned with the Earth's magnetic fields. Like, very precisely.
How the hell did they know,
I know,
everything?
but then again, my dog shits in line with that. So there's some information that they were able to tap into that it's like those
I
kind of things.
believe it. I'm just mad about it.
Right. It's crazy to me, the things that are affected by...
Although I will say, like, when you have nothing but time, you do come up with ideas. You know, they
Good
didn't
point.
have...
They didn't have to post on Instagram, so they were like, you know what?
What do you guys want to do?
Yeah.
Let's figure out the meaning of life and
God, we need more of that.
how everything works. I'm astounded at their productivity and success.
There's the one thing I could never really, like, let go of. So I watched a documentary, I think it was called, like, the Pyramid Code, I'm pretty sure. But in it they talk about one unexplainable piece of, like, archaeological findings.
Yeah.
That's a round piece of stone that's been cut, like, laser cut. That could not have been made by a human. They can't imagine a human tool that would be this, like, precise. Yeah.
And so it's just question mark.
Yeah, because, like, they said in it, if you were to take, I think it's like a marble or something like that, and blow it up to be the size of the Earth, the craters in it.
I saw that.
Yes.
What the hell did
What
I
is
see?
that? The craters in it would be so big, it would fill an ocean.
Yes.
Like, but it feels perfectly smooth to us.
Yes.
What? I saw the same thing.
It was definitely on Netflix. I'm sure it was, like, explained.
Yeah, probably. What if that's probably it.
I watched the same thing.
And I was like, dude, so this thing is, like...
If you magnified something that
Yes.
seems smooth,
Yes.
it wouldn't be at
Smooth.
a certain level
Right.
of magnification.
Yes.
But you're telling me...
That this thing is, like, machine-made flat.
So what do you
I
got?
don't know.
Just come up with something, Sarah. We have a
know.
show to make.
You're so great. I mean, my instinct is aliens, but, you know.
Your instinct
Yes.
is aliens.
Yep.
I'm writing that down.
That's my or some, how else? I don't know. I just can't explain it. My go-to is always alien. Please, my mother is going to the U2, not U2, but maybe the same audience. Maybe there's a Venn diagram with some overlap. The UFO convention. I was going to say U2 convention. No, very different. The UFO convention. She hasn't gone yet, but maybe I'll ask her because I don't know those like ancient alien.
Why is that your go-to though? Because mine would be like, oh, they had some special tool or knowledge that they knew how to do it.
Yeah, but like, how did they get that?
You think aliens?
No, I just feel like, oh, I don't know.
Like the aliens told them? Or the aliens did it?
I don't, like, you're laughing at me like I don't know.
I'm not laughing.
But then I go back to, like, my favorite scientist, like Michio Kaku, who, like, has... Well,
I'm not laughing at you.
He actually says no civilization has ever visited us because there's no point in coming here because it would be like us going and visiting an anthill. We'd be like, we don't care about what you're doing. We're doing bigger things.
Well, that's what I said one time on the show, how we are 1% or less more sophisticated than gorillas.
Yes. Yeah.
And
barely.
We look at them like, oh boy.
Yeah.
And that even if an alien were to be 1% more advanced than we are, that we would be like the apes.
Yes.
And so I don't know that they wouldn't come because of that.
Like,
I mean, so
guys.
we are an anthill. I'd still want to see it if it was the first one I ever saw.
That is true. But we maybe are, or like maybe there's no...
Stop judging us, aliens. That's so rude.
Oh, God. I have been thinking a lot about UFO, like that, not UFOs, but more like this, like where we are in our cosmic evolution.
Yeah.
So to speak. So I was reading something recently that talked about how in Idaho, scientists were successfully able to make snow by shooting clouds with silver, like a silver ion, silver something in the clouds because they're trying to like change the weather. Like we're experiencing drought, we're experiencing this. Maybe we can change the weather.
Yeah, we're running out of ideas here.
And like forever ago, like 10 years ago, my brother in like all of his conspiracy theory ways was like, they're controlling our weather. It's called this. It's like a real thing that's happening. And now I'm seeing articles that are like blatantly saying like, oh yes, we're trying to control our weather. And then it says pilots have done this in the past to break up hailstorms. And then my brother said that and this is only like conspiracy theory but then these things come out and it's like, wait, that kind of makes sense. What are they called? The lines in the sky that people were like chemtrails that could have been these ionized, this silver, like trying to change the weather of things like that.
We've hit rock bottom.
No,
I love it.
but I'm like,
I'm happy. I like it.
What it did is this was an actual scientific publication that came out about them controlling the snow in Idaho. That then made me think, because we know that this really happened. That's a real thing.
I literally cannot do anything without you thinking I'm judging you.
Oh my God!
Like I breathe and you're like, seriously, Suze.
Because it does sound and maybe what that is like my own skepticism.
Projecting,
yes, where I'm like, Sarah. But this is an article. Researchers seed clouds to artificially bring on the snow in Idaho. It says snow was created by scientists firing a series of flares from an aircraft to inject silver iodine particles into a natural cloud floating by. The experiment, called SNOWY, which stands for Seeds in Natural Orographic Wintertime Clouds.
They're super excited about that.
For
acronym,
sure.
by the way.
They are. They were like, we have to make
snowy
it. Of
and
course,
then make it work.
That's exactly what they worked backwards. That was a B to A situation that happened. So University of Colorado Boulder. So it's in my brother's backyard. This is where he goes.
I think your brother's behind this.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him because he would have that kind of like not tell me.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and they call it cloud seeding. But the thing that is making people kind of pause is that what's like the cost-benefit analysis. Yes, it does, improve weather conditions where you can get snow or rain or help with that. But there have been studies that have shown that this silver iodine or whatever is detrimental to humans.
I'm sure.
So then I think about
there's
they
no
have to
way
inject it.
Yeah.
Come on, this seems like a hop, skip, and a jump to this is what chemtrails are. And then that took me down the rabbit hole of like thinking about Michio Kaku, that scientist who talked about the different stages of like an evolution of a species and how like we're a type 1 civilization that there are different like stages. Like in the first stage of a civilization's technological advancement, they are called a planetary civilization, and they can use and store all of the energy available on a planet. Then there's a type 2 civilization that's called a stellar civilization that can use and control energy at the scale of its stellar system. And then type 3 that's called a galactic civilization that control energy at the scale of its entire host galaxy.
I love that people can watch you like fall apart.
Oh my God. I'm not coming up with this. This is like our most like revered scientists in the name of astrophysics are using the same scale and saying,
sure it is.
For the reason, God, you're so funny. For the reason that we wouldn't, this is Michio Keiko, the scientist who argues the reason why we wouldn't be visited by extraterrestrials and aliens is because we're a type 1 and they're a type 3.
Oh.
And they're like, why would they come? They don't care about us. We have no information to give them.
Mm-hmm. It's like me going to like Wheeling, West Virginia.
Why would you go? You have nothing to give me there.
Which, by the way, I have nothing against Wheeling. I'm just saying, like, we've been places that are better. So,
but this is kind of like fits in line with us like becoming as advanced as we can in this type 1 that says you'd be able to harness the power of your own planet. And we kind of are starting to do that. Mm-hmm. So there you go. There's the rabbit hole.
So stop judging everybody.
Forget it.
Sarah has the answers about UFOs. Mm-hmm. I was just thinking how we, in religion, we need the equivalent of the term UFO because I think it's so helpful that it just means unidentified. And I want that because someone was asking me, actually it was Bridget Marcourt who has the Ghost Magnet podcast, and she was on Girls Next Door.
Yeah.
She was with Hef on that show. And she was asking me about growing up in the Pentecostal church and how people speak in tongues. And she was like, what do you think of that? And I'm like, hey, if people say it's true, I can't say it's not.
Right.
That's real to them.
Very involved of you.
And it's kind of like that with this stuff where I just wish there was a term that attributed like, we just don't know.
We don't know
what's going on because it's supernatural or beyond this worldly. Yeah. And because then it would not assign it to another category. It would just say, we don't know.
We don't know. It just
unidentified. It needs to be more of everyone being okay with not knowing.
Right. This is science.
Yeah.
The whole point is I'm going to test it and retest it, but it's just a theory or a hypothesis, not a theory.
Yeah.
Even though we joke and say Sarah's got a theory.
Well,
but we know that scientifically, we don't. Gravity, theory, like hypothesis, like theory, we don't know.
We don't know. And it's okay to not know.
It is okay. Yeah, and I'm just saying we just don't know a lot.
Anything else before we go?
That's it? I have so much more to talk about. I'll have to save it for next time. Oh my gosh, this was good. All right. Bye, guys.
See you next time.